Welcome back to the Full Force Fathers podcast. Dave, happy election day. How are you today?
I'm doing great. UConn started their season last night. I got the UConn shirt on. They played Stonehill College. College basketball is back. I could not be more excited about that because we are on the march to March at this point, and I love it.
Yeah, you know what else, though, it means to me when college basketball is back and the NBA started back up? It means winter time, dude. Ugh.
That must suck. What's that like?
Yeah. Winter, screw you, okay? Winter does suck, but it's okay. In Southern Virginia, winter, you in Arizona, me being in Southern Virginia, we don't see the worst of winter, which is good. It's not terrible, but college basketball in full swing. That's really, really cool. UConn, obviously, we both support UConn, and we'll go with it. But yeah, man, we are full force in November now. And today is Election Day. Do you have any Election Day thoughts, Dave, before we move on?
Oh, boy, I have a lot of thoughts, but that can be its own episode. But regardless of your viewpoint, just get out there and vote. It's so important to vote. It's what separates us from the vast majority of other countries in this world. It's what keeps our freedom. So get out there, vote, however you see fit, but just get out and vote.
And I will second that same exact thing. Just vote. Whether you're a Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, Green Party, Socialist Party, whatever freaking party you are, go vote. And vote, a lot of people get enamored by the big elections, the Senate races, the presidential elections, the ones, the needle movers on television, on your Fox News and your MSNBC. But really, the one tip that I have for everybody when it comes to, or maybe not even a tip, maybe just a suggestion, really pay attention. And I think you'll second this. Pay attention to your local elections, because I think your local elections are so important. You want to know who you want to vote for in the Senate or the House of, the Congress or whatever. But really, you're never going to meet those people. They're never going to truly do anything for you. You need to know who's your local leadership. And those are the most important elections that you can get involved in. Don't you agree?
I absolutely agree. And you just said it. I mean, those are the most important ones because that's what affects you day to day. Voting for your city council, voting for your mayor, voting for your school board. Those are all so important because they affect you. Those decisions affect you on a bunch of different levels. If you have kids, it affects you in the school and how your kids are being taught. It affects the different things that are happening in your town. If there's mass building happening in your town, or maybe there's a candidate who wants to preserve some of your land. That's one of the things we're dealing with right now out here. Building is a big thing out here in Arizona, and there's some candidates that want to just keep expanding and build townhouses and start blocking views. And so you got to think about what's really important to you. What are the issues that are important to you? Make sure to get dialed in on those and make your vote count.
Yeah, where you are, there's so much building going on. Where I am, I wish there were some more building going on, but some beggars can't be choosers. So anyways, today is episode 35. I didn't say it at the beginning of the show. So we are going to hop into some famous 35s. Dave, I want to take the lead on this one because there's the first person I want to mention on this list was a famous 35 who is no longer a 35, and that is Kevin Durant. He was 35 and, when he played at Texas. He was 35 when he played for the Oklahoma City Thunder. And then when he left, he changed that number. But in my opinion, he will always be probably the greatest basketball player to ever wear number 35. And he's really the only NBA guy, basketball guy that I put on the list. And then a lot of the other 35s are baseball related. Another Hall of Famer that's currently or just pitched in the World Series, Justin Verlander, 35. Frank Thomas, 35, and one for you, Dave, Rickey Henderson.
Rickey Henderson, yeah. I mean, there's some great baseball players on here. We just got out of the World Series with Justin Verlander. There are some good 35s, and there's one on there. I've got a signed baseball by him, Yogi Berra, and I think he has signed the most things in the history of athletes. I think I did hear that correctly somewhere as an actual fact. I mean, that dude signed bazillion baseballs, and I have one of them. Despite him being a Yankee, he was still a fun baseball player, that little guy behind the plate. But the last few weeks we've debated best overall seeds in a tournament style with numbers. This might very well be a 16 seed. This is a weak list, I have to say. I'm not impressed with this list.
It may be a 16 seed. I don't think it's a 16 seed. I think this would be more because if you count Kevin Durant at Texas and when he was with the Oklahoma City Thunder, he did make the finals. If you're talking Yogi Berra as a Hall of Famer, Frank Thomas, MVP, Ricky Henderson, the all-time, base stealer. So I don't think this is a 16. I'd probably put this more in the 8-9 matchup where then they get blown out by a 1 seed the following night. That's where I would probably put this. I don't think it's a 6. This is not a Cinderella. Kevin Durant's not Cinderella.
No, he's not Cinderella, but as the March Madness field always seems to deepen now every year, and 16s have a shot ever since Virginia got beat. But I don't know. I don't see it. I don't see them as high as you do. I guess I could be wrong. I guess we'll have to see as the numbers continue to develop over the next few months.
Yeah, and unfortunately, we never started this at number 1 with episode number 1, which I wish we did, but we never did. So, yes, take into consideration the numbers we have put out there in the last few months. This is not the top of the table. But I bet you if we went back and started at number 1, it wouldn't be a 16 seed in my opinion. But who knows? We're never going to know because we're never going to go backwards and start adding numbers.
No, we won't.
Anyways, so today we have a fun episode on tap. A little bit different. We're going with a little question and answer. So we have some just broad questions that we're going to ask in the beginning of the show, just like about our listeners, to our listeners essentially, and then we're going to have some Q&A for each other. Just questions that I've in my line of work and Dave's line of work. That we've been asked over the course of the last couple months. And we just want to, by putting them out on the air, it just gives a little bit broader context. More listeners can hear the answers to these questions than just the person who asked us the question. But before we get into anything, we have our Bible verse of the day. And our Bible verse I picked today, it's a long one. So I actually have the Bible in front of me if you're watching on YouTube, because I'm going to read it because there's 2 verses in the same chapter that I'm going to read. And I picked this verse because today is election day. And for the last 6 months or so, if you watch TV, which we recommend you don't, all you see is hatred. The right hates the left hates the right, this guy's bad, this girl's great, this girl's terrible, yada, 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 so on and so forth. There's just so much hatred. And it's just so stupid that we get this involved in our elections to the point where we actually don't like somebody else as a human because of the party that they are running for. Don't get me wrong, there's some really crappy politicians out there, but hate is it's just tossed around. They hate Trump, they hate Biden, they hate this. And I just think we need more love in the world. And this verse from 1 Corinthians chapter 13 is all about that. Okay, so I'm going to start with verse 4 to verse 7, and then I'm going to jump down to the back of this, okay? And it starts like this. It says, this is also 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 4. Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, also always perseveres. Love never fails, okay? That's the beginning of it. And then it finishes like this. For now we see only a reflection as in a mirror, then we shall see face to face. Now I know in part, then I shall know fully, even as I am fully known. And now these 3 remain, faith, hope, and love, but the greatest of these is love. I read this to my kids a lot because love is so important. We're dads. We have to love on our family. We have to love on our kids. And I just think it's a fitting verse in the sense that with all the hatred, not just in politics because today's election day, just in general, all the hate going on in the world, man, we could use a lot more love in the world, Dave.
Yeah, we could. And it says it in there. It trumps everything. Love is the thing that keeps us together. And that's what we really need to find. We need to love each other, love our families, love our neighbors. There's things that we can find common ground on, and that's what I think people have lost so deeply over the last few years, and we need to rediscover it. because we still live in the greatest country in the world. And that's not going to change. And you said it right at the beginning before you got into the Bible verse. Watching TV, you see all the hatred. Casey and I were watching. Every night we usually watch an episode of House Hunters, and we stream it, so we get stuck watching the commercials that are between it. And every commercial break is filled with probably 4 or 5 political ads that I feel, they're the worst they've ever been right now. It is hard hitting to each candidate, vicious attacks on each person. I remember back in the day growing up, you'd see them be like, oh, each commercial would be like, vote for me, don't vote for this person. Vote for me, don't vote for this person. But right now it is just straight up hatred across the board. And that is just incredibly sad to see. So teaching our kids to love, find the good in things, that's so important as we move forward, especially today.
Yep, absolutely. You hit the nail right on the head, and you're right. When you stream stuff, you get ads, and that's all it's been lately is political ads. Another tip during election season: stay off of social media, because even if you don't want to see the ads, they just shove them right down your throat on social media, which is interesting, and don't even know how it even is legal. But that's once again a topic for discussion for another day. So anyways, let's jump into the show, Dave. We have a bunch of show notes today, and we kind of, like I said, we got a Q&A session today where Dave and I are going to answer some questions together. Maybe one will be directed more towards him, one will be directed more towards me, but we have some broader questions for you. And we're inside the last 2 months now of 2023. It went by real fast. I don't know about for you, Dave, but 2022 has been the fastest year of my life. We're literally under 60 days until it's 2023. And it has just been a whirlwind. Yeah. Do you feel that?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It seems like just yesterday we were talking about starting Full Force Fathers, and that was January of this year. And here we are now, November. And so many things have happened this year for both of us individually and also together with this project. It has been a remarkably fast year. And that got us to thinking about where do we stand? Where do the listeners stand from where we started?
Yeah, no, absolutely. You're right. January to now, it's been the fastest. It's been the fastest year. To think that I left in a camper. Okay, Andine and I, Madison County Finley, left in a camper from Tucson, Arizona, last November. So we're talking a full calendar year. We left in a camper. It's crazy to think that. And now here we are. And it's wild. It's wild how fast it's gone by. But so anyway, so the questions that we kind of wanted to throw your way, these are, like I said, broad questions. And, with less than 2 months to go till 2023, I'm going to read them out loud. Dave, I want you to hop in and read out and give me answers. You give your thoughts. But 2 months to 2023, where are you? Have you accomplished any of those goals that you set out at the beginning of the year? Maybe you set a goal in January or February or June. Are you accomplishing? Have you, or are you on the path to accomplishing any of those goals? Are you living a healthier life? Are you living more of a full force life in terms of your faith, your fitness, and your finance? For you, Dave, are you? That's a big question. Are you on your path to financial freedom? Dave and I have been going back and forth the last 2 weeks about my financial situation, and finding out ways to get better. Have you made any gains from a financial spot or a physical spot? Where are you still struggling? Why are you still struggling? There's less than 2 months left of the year. The holidays are right around the corner, and then before you know it, it's going to be January 1st, and it's going to be New Year's resolution time, right? Dave, so jump in on that kind of just broad question that I did. Give me something.
Yeah, well, you said, you said it right at the beginning. You said, have you accomplished your goals? But then you followed it up with, all right, well, maybe you haven't accomplished them completely, but are you working towards them? And I think that's what the main question is. Are you still working towards those goals? And then identifying where your strengths are and where your weaknesses are so you can adjust, pivot, and start continuing to work forward. Because what happens is, towards the end of what you said is, yeah, it's New Year's resolution time. That's when everybody makes goals, right? Everybody wants to make the goal. I want to be healthier in the new year. I'm going to be better with money in the new year. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And 2-3 weeks into the year, most of the time those goals are shot. And then you live the rest of the year planning your next New Year's resolution goals, right? And what we want to do as Full Force Fathers is always work on our goals. So maybe you haven't accomplished exactly what you set out for, but as long as you're working towards it, that's a key. And some of these things that we're doing as Full Force Fathers in our lives, the things that we're striving to be better at, are not quick fixes. It's not like, all right, I'm going to lose 10 pounds and I'm good. It's living that healthier lifestyle so you can be there for your kids, be present, be active, do the things you want to do with them, live a long, healthy life. Financial freedom, that's not something that happens overnight. You got to continually work towards that. Every single day is a struggle, especially as inflation creeps up. All these different things. It's always a fight. You've always got to be disciplined on what you're doing so that your finances continue to move in an upward trajectory so you can reach financial freedom, but that doesn't happen overnight. So how are you doing with those goals? That's a great, great question. Are you still working towards them, or have you just thrown them aside? And if you've thrown them aside, why? Why did you throw them aside? What happened? And how do we get you back on the right path to accomplishing them?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think episode 1, right? Go all the way back to episode 1 a long time ago when we first started this. Where to start? That's the question. That's the ultimate question to ask yourself. First of all, did you even start? You may have asked yourself where to start and figured out where or how to start, but did you even start? Because kicking the can down the road, I'll wait till the first of the month. I'll wait till next Monday. I'll wait till this something ends, or you do this, or you sell this. And guess what? Here we are in November, and maybe you didn't even start because you just kept procrastinating, right? You just keep pushing it off and pushing off, instead of just doing it and starting, right? So these questions don't necessarily have to be beginning of the year questions or November questions. They're just an every time question.
Right. Because you don't need a special time to start. You could start right now. We've said that before on episodes. Right now, if you ate donuts for breakfast today, don't eat junk for lunch. Go make a salad. Go get something healthy for dinner. Get some grilled chicken. Start right in this moment as you're listening to this. If you went out and you charged coffee this morning, don't charge it ever again. Pay for it. And if you don't have it, make the coffee at home and bring it with you to work, or bring it wherever you're going. Make the choice to start right now. You can change it anytime you want. You don't need to have a specific date and time penciled out on the calendar right now. That's the beauty of it. You get to choose. Every single person gets to choose when they change. So make it right now.
Yep. And if you go at those changes that you want to make at a full force level, all in, you will see change. You will see results. It's proven. Dave, myself, listeners out there, if you go full force at a task that you want to accomplish or achieve, you will accomplish it. You will succeed. All right. So just remember that. 2 months to go in the year. Don't worry about the new year to start. Just start now. Who cares if it's freaking November? Who cares if you're going to miss out on cheesecake for freaking Thanksgiving? Who cares if you're going to miss out on chocolate chip cookies and this and that for Christmas? Start now if it's health. Don't go, and this one, Dave, don't go put Christmas on a credit card this year. Don't just start right now by saying, I'm not going to do that. Nobody cares. At the end of the day, nobody cares.
Yeah. Nobody cares. Kids don't, yes, kids have a list of things they want. They want presents. They want things like that. You know what? Right now, you still have 2 months to go a month and a half to Christmas. You have time to save. Save right now for the things you want to get your kids for Christmas. And you know what? Stop spending on everybody else. We get into this cultural thing where we got to buy gifts for this person. We got to buy gifts for that person. I mean, you and I are best friends. We don't send gifts to each other's kids at Christmas. We don't do it. Right? Yeah. I mean, but most people are like, oh, I gotta get a gift for my friend, whoever that I haven't seen in 2 years, but they got a baby, so I got to give them a gift. No, you don't have to do that. And people don't feel the need. Have the conversation with your friends. Have the conversation with your family. You know what? We don't need to spend the extra money this year. Let's just not do it. And you know what? Everybody's probably going to be just fine with that. And if they're not, tough luck.
And it's something else, and we don't want to go down the Christmas budget rabbit hole because that will be in the next couple episodes coming up where Dave and I will go over Christmas budgets.
That's coming.
Yeah, that's coming. So we're not going to go down that rabbit hole. But, if you only listen to this episode, you never listen to another one again, here's a Christmas tip this year if you're financially strained. Instead of worrying about presents, Dave, give yourself for Christmas. Give yourself to some volunteering. Give yourself to your family if they haven't seen you. That would be a better gift. Give yourself to your kids this year. and be there and be present. And then when we get into the Christmas budget episode in the next couple of weeks, we'll talk about a bunch of other ways to do Christmas on a budget. But the good book, man, the Bible's right here. Give yourself. Give yourself. There's no better gift than giving yourself.
Love, right? That was the verse today. It was all about love. Love each
Absolutely.
other. Love other people. Go down and work, go down and work in a food kitchen or a food pantry. And like you said, donate your time. Do whatever you can to help around the holidays, because I guarantee you there's people out there that are struggling very much and could use that assistance. So make it a point to make that a part of your holiday. It doesn't have to be money.
Absolutely. So let's jump into some questions, some broad topic questions, Dave. We're going to both answer them. Sometimes they have a little bit to do with life, my life, your life, everyone's life in general. And the big question I want
no particular order.
No particular order whatsoever. I want to jump into this first question that I had put in my notes, and I want you to answer it first, and then I'm going to give you my perspective on it. And the first question that I've been asked a lot lately is it a good time to buy a house? Simply put, the answer is yes. What are your thoughts?
It's always a good time to buy a house. If you need a house and you are in a position to buy a house, it's a good time to buy a house. Now, if you don't have the money to buy the house, it's not a good time to buy the house. So again, you've got to be in a position to do it. So you've got to have an emergency fund in place. You've got to have no debt. You've got to be in that position to buy a house. But if you are, it doesn't, everybody says, oh my God, the interest rates are so high right now. Yeah, they are. Chances are they're going to come down. But you know what else chances are? They could go up. So if they go up, now would be a great time to buy a house, right? So, you've got to look at it, because you can always refinance. And I'll let you talk about that, since that's your world. But it's always a good time to buy a house if you can afford to do it.
Absolutely. And that's why I wanted you to take that question first, because I wanted people to hear the financially smart money answer to that question more than just the mortgage banker's answer to that question, okay? Because some people will look at me and say, well, because you're a mortgage loan officer, of course it's a good time to buy a house. You get paid on doing mortgages. That's why I wanted your answer first, because I agree with everything that Dave just said. You shouldn't be up to your eyeballs in debt and still want to buy a house. You should not, have tons of credit card debt and car payments and have just the bare minimum to buy a house, if it's going to cause you to go house poor. The technical question is it a good time to buy a house? And the technical answer, an easy answer, is yes, because throughout the course of history, take away 2008, the one anomaly, home prices have always historically risen. So yes, if you are qualified to purchase a home and you are in a good financial standing and you can afford your home, you have a good down payment and things like that, then yes, it is a good time to buy a house, because guess what? It is the number one hedge against inflation, because if inflation continues to rise like it has for, it's risen substantially in the last few years, home prices continue to rise. All right. So getting in now, because even if, let's just say, rates come back down, there's a few advantages to buying right now. Number one, rates are a little bit higher. Yes. Historically, they're still not high. 20 years ago, they were higher. Okay. But there's less competition there's less competition to buy a house right now. There's just less people that are qualified to purchase a home. So if you are truly financially qualified to purchase a home, then yes, it's a good time, because guess what? You're not competing with 50 offers. Number one. Number two, sellers who have been so spoiled these last couple of years, Dave, with selling their house in 15 minutes with 50 offers, don't have that anymore. There's no luxury there anymore for them. So guess what? Yeah, they're probably overpricing their houses a little bit, and they're going to be more susceptible to giving up concessions in the deal. So not only are you going to not have to compete with 30 people to purchase a home, you're probably going to get some closing costs paid for. You may get a buy down paid for. All right. You may get a little price reduction in the home. There's a lot of pros right now. Yes, the cons are, the house is priced too high, or the rate's 7% or 6.5%, and it was 3% at the beginning of the year. Guess what? That's gone. That ship has sailed, people. And yes, do we think rates are going to come back down? Yes, we think, we hope, but there's no guarantee in anything. There's zero guarantee. You cannot look at a customer honestly and say, yeah, buy now at 7% because it's going to be 4% in 6 months. That you can't say that, because you don't really know that, right? You can, there's technical analysis. There's things that you can see that show that, but that doesn't mean it's guaranteed to happen.
No, that doesn't mean it's guaranteed to happen, especially in today's day. Like anything's possible, so I wouldn't put it past it going up more. So you just don't know. But the key is being financially secured in a place to buy a house. If you don't have debt, you're one of the few. You're a small percentage of the people out there. Okay,
You're weird.
You don't have any debt. It puts you in a position. You are weird. It puts you in a position to be able to go in and deal with the higher interest rates and still be a qualified buyer. The reason the market's slowing down is because there's not as many buyers, because people can't afford it. They've got so much debt that they can't afford those higher interest rates. So and the house prices are still high. So it's pricing them completely out of the market right now. So if you do the things that we teach you to do, if you live a financially free, a debt-free life on your way to financial freedom, you're going to put yourself in a position to be one of those few qualified buyers that can go after the house that you really want. And assuming interest rates do come down at some point, you can refinance, and then you're going to be in a much better position because you didn't have to compete. You didn't have to pay 10, 15, 20, sometimes even more percent higher than the house was listed for just to get it, because there was so much competition involved with it. So doing the things we say and becoming financially free will allow you to handle markets like this and swings like this, where you're always in a position to do what you want to do, which is the ultimate goal of financial freedom, doing what you want to do.
Absolutely. And you don't have to battle, because your home is still going to appreciate. It's just not going to appreciate at 20% a year like they have been. You know what? If you get 3 to 7% appreciation, it's pretty daggone good. You're making your mortgage payments and you're gaining. So you're chomping at that, from two sides, which is amazing. So yes, the caveat to the question of is it a good time to buy a house is yes, but make sure you're in a good financial position before you buy a house. Is the truest answer that I can give you.
Yep.
Another question, Dave. Go ahead. Fire off another question. Is there anything I can let me answer something first this time?
Yeah, this is going to be a good one for you. All right, so we hear this a lot, right? We don't have extra money to go to the gym. Gyms can be very expensive. Maybe you don't have a cheap gym around you at Planet Fitness where it's $10 a month. But even still, that's $120 a year, and how much are you actually using it, right? So I don't have a lot of money for the gym. How can I work out at home where I don't have to spend a lot of money on equipment? I don't have to buy a lot of weights. I don't have to buy a bench. I don't have to do all these things, because you see some people with the home gyms, and it's like, oh, my God, you could have paid for gym membership for the next 15 years on what it looks like it cost you. How do I stay motivated? How do I do things that are different, that are fun, that keep me excited, so that I don't have to spend a fortune going to the gym, and I don't have to spend a fortune at home outfitting my house as a gym?
Okay, great question. I love that question. Okay, first thing, let's be real. Most people use their gym membership as a social hour. It's like a non-alcoholic happy hour. People go there and they dilly-dally and bullshit, and they look at themselves in the mirror, and there's and all my time in gyms, I don't want to put a percentage on it because every gym varies, but there's a small percentage of people who are actually there committed to crush and get great results and stay super healthy and super fit. A lot of people go there because, I go to the gym, they can use that line with their friends, or they go there to see their friends or whatever. And then there's the weirdos that like to go there and look at themselves in the mirror. Okay. So the small percentage of people that are there, to actually get the results that they're looking for are slim. It's not a knock on gyms. Gyms, Planet Fitness is $1 billion industry. Good for them. Listen, capitalist America, I'm not against it. But I think if you truly are looking for a gym experience, that's where the budget comes into play, because I would always recommend that someone goes to more of a boutique style gym, smaller, more expensive. But in this case, the question posed is, if you don't have a lot of money for a gym and a lot of money for a Bowflex at home, which, people finance and yada, 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 the cheapest way you're going to do it is if you just get a few dumbbells. Okay, dumbbells aren't going to cost you that much. If you can afford some dumbbells, get yourself, depending on your size, I like to say the generic rule, if you can get a set of 20-pound dumbbells for men and 15s for ladies, 12 and a half 15s for ladies, that's a great, if you only have one weight in your house, because I can tell you now, I can absolutely destroy most people in the gym with a set of 20-pound dumbbells, and I'm 200 pounds. So yeah, you don't need 50-pound dumbbells, 80-pound dumbbells to get a good workout. But if we're keeping budget friendly here, Get yourself a set of 20-pound dumbbells. You can do your bicep curls on, you can do chest, you can get squats and lunges, you can do legs, you can do abs. There's everything you can do with a 20-pound or a 15-pound dumbbell and get results. Okay? But if you're going strictly, I don't have any extra money in the budget, Dave, my zero budget at the end of the month has no money for gym, then that's where you have to get creative, okay? And the very simple answer is go outside and walk or run, okay? That's the first thing. But you also threw the caveat in there is you don't want to get bored with doing the same thing over and over again, all right? How about this? Go out and go for a hike, right? Get out in nature, hike, take your dog, take your wife, take your kids, go by yourself, take a friend, go see what nature has to offer. And hey, by the way, you're going to get a great workout when you're hiking up the side of a mountain that costs you absolutely nothing to do, right? It costs you nothing to drive to the parking lot and get outside and hike, okay? So pick a different spot each weekend that you're going to go hiking, or pick a different spot 3 times a week that you're going to go hiking, or do it one day by yourself and then one day with friends so it switches up the pace, okay? Challenge yourself. Another way to do this, if you have no weights, challenge yourself and set small goals, all right? If you have no weights, challenge yourself. If you're completely out of shape and you have no idea what to do, challenge yourself to do 10 push-ups. All right? And after that, challenge yourself to do 50 crunches or sit-ups. Challenge yourself to do 10 squats. There's so many things you can do that are different. All right? You want to get real creative, you don't have any money for weights? I'm sure somewhere in your property, in your garage, somewhere you have a bucket, right? This is the old school fitness 101. Go get yourself a 5-gallon pail and fill it up with dirt or sand. Get an old backpack and put rocks in it. I mean, I can give you all sorts of budget-friendly $0 that cost $0 to get a hell of a workout in.
Well, and I was just going to say that's what I did for a while. I had the buckets filled with Traeger pellets in the garage, and I would go out there and I would use those for bicep curls and all sorts of different stuff. Just I had different levels of the buckets with the pellets in it, so there were different weights, and that's what I would do for my workouts outside. It was awesome. And this is a tough question for us because I know both of us kind of like to master the mundane, right? We like to do the same thing over and over. When I go for a run, I do the same route every time. If I ruck, I do the same route every time. I don't really deviate. But another thing you can do, depending on where you are, is you can join a running group. Casey's a part of a running group here in Tucson. And they they run 7 days a week. Every day it's at a different place. There's days that they're on the track. There's days that they're doing hills. There's days that they're doing just kind of straight. They have days that they go and they do trail running. So and it doesn't cost anything. It's just a group of people that all like to do the same thing, like to get together and run. So you can find those types of things as well. If you kind of look on social media, you can usually find those groups in your area. So there's ways to do this that doesn't cost a lot of money or doesn't cost anything. Other than your time and your effort into it, which is ultimately the most important piece anyway. Because if you don't have that, having a fancy gym membership isn't going to mean anything.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, like I said, there's tons of ways to get creative. The running group thing is an awesome idea that I didn't even put down in the notes. I'm glad you added that in there because, listen, use social media for the good. Put it out there on social media. Hey, guys, I'm looking to get in shape. Guaranteed you have 50 comments in the first day. If you type out on your Facebook and you say, hey, guys, I'm looking to get in shape. I don't really want to go to a gym, or do you have any suggestions? You will have 50 comments in the first day. Maybe half of them are garbage, but you will get answers. You will find answers and find solutions. Okay, so let's keep on the topic of.
And you know what? You find some great. I was going to say you find some great people in that as well. I mean, very inclusive people. It doesn't matter where you're at in the process. This could be the first time you're going out for a walk or a run. You're going to find somebody in that group that's around the same level that you can run with and that you can make it a thing. Don't like a lot of times people will be like, well, I'm not very good at this. I want to get to this level first before I go and do that. No, don't do that. Just go find the group, become a part of it, get that friendship going, start finding those partners that you like to run with and do that. And it makes it so much better.
And one more thing, working out, to add to that, working out with other people makes it so much easier. And here's one more that I can't believe neither one of us put in there. 75 Hard is free. I promise you. There you go. It is free. Do it, and you'll get creative.
Yep.
So
because you have to.
Yeah, you have to. So next question. Let's rapid fire here a couple, David. This next one comes to you, and this was a broad question that was asked. Okay. Should I get a part-time job?
Depends. Do you need a part-time job? That would be the question. You got to look at your own financial situation. Where are you? If you're financially free, if you have enough money every month for your budget, you're able to do all the different things we say. You're able to save. You got your emergency fund. You're able to save investing. You're able to save for your kids' college. You're able to pay more on your house. You're able to do all those things, save for vacations and things that you want to do. And no, you don't need to get a part-time job. But are you buried in debt? Are you behind on your budget? Are you behind on bills? Where are you? If so, yeah, it's time to get a part-time job. It's pretty simple. There's a lot of part-time jobs out there. Go find one. It's not a permanent thing. We've said that before. Go do the things that get you started, get you moving. Because if you have an income that's less than your outgo, you've got a big problem, because that's going to continue. You're going to continue to dig that hole. So you need to find a way out. Get a part-time job. That's a great idea if you're in a position that you need it. If not, if things are going well, then you don't need to worry about it. But you've got to look inside, take a self-assessment of where you're at and where you want to be, and that'll give you your answer.
Yep. My answer to that question is, what do you do for a living now? Do you only work part-time? Then yes, you need another part-time job. If you are in a slow commission job, a remote job, something like that, where you have free time and you in your budget, like Dave says, you look at your financials and it fits the bill, yes, you need a part-time job. If you're debt-free and you pay all your bills and your budget's good, then yeah, no, you don't need to. If you want to make some extra money to stash away towards your kids' college fund or something like that, then yeah, maybe the holiday season is not a bad idea, because everyone's hiring this time of the year for a for part-time.
No doubt about it.
Got another question?
Yeah. What should we do with extra money that comes in? A lot of times this time of year, people get Christmas bonuses at work. A lot of people want to know, what do I do? What do I do with extra money?
Great question.
What would you do with extra money right now?
Survive, number one. Always, if you need the extra money to survive, that should always be your answer. But I like how you gave me this question first. So let me just kind of think of from the non-financial guru spot and then let you answer it. What should you do with extra money? The old me, before I met you, would have been like, shit, let's go buy something new. Hell yeah, let's go finance an ATV or something. You know what I mean? The new me says, you got to be behind somewhere. You must want something in your future. You must be behind on your retirement. You must be behind on college funds. You must need to pay off a debt. Then, my best question is, like most Americans, you have debt. If you get extra money, pay the debt off. But I want to hear this answer more or less from you. What are you doing with extra money right now?
Well, again, it depends on where you are in your financial journey. Do you have $1,000 in an emergency fund and you're working your debt snowball? If you do, great. It's going to the debt snowball. Your smallest debt, that's where it's going. If there's more left over, it's going to the next smallest debt, and you're adding it to that. Now, if you're out of debt, okay, you don't have any debt, you don't have anything extra to pay there. Do you have a fully funded emergency fund? Do you have 3 to 6 months of expenses lined up? If you don't, that's where the extra money's going. It's loading up your emergency fund so that you don't have to depend on debt when things get tough. Now, if you've got an emergency fund together, you've got no debt, you're good to go. Like you just said, where are you in retirement savings? Had you made your contributions this year? Have you done 15% of your total household income towards retirement for this year? Are you on pace to do that? If not, that's where it goes. If you have, it's going to college savings. Do you have enough there? Maybe you do. If you do, then the extra should go to pay for your house. Now, if your house is completely paid for, you've got no debt whatsoever, you're on pace for everything, you know what? One of the best things you can do with it is give it. You can give some of that money away, which is an amazing thing, because there are a lot of people struggling right now. And to be able to go in and just, pay for a single mom's electric bill for the year, or go to the church and pick off a bunch of angels off the tree, clean the tree off, take all the names off the tree, and go buy all the gifts for the kids that can't buy Christmas gifts this year. Those are great things to do with wherever you are in your journey. There's things you can do with the money that are going to benefit you, instead of just wasting it and pissing it away on something that's not important, that you're not going to care about in 6 months.
All right. I got another question for you. Now, this one's directly at you. You don't know what's coming. What is one thing?
Oh boy.
What is one thing that you are working on or you want to accomplish before the year is over?
Am I working on or want to accomplish? I want to make it through the holiday season without losing my focus on diet and food and all of that. The holidays are such a tricky time. I've already felt it with Halloween. We got candy in the other room. I'll walk past, I'll grab a piece of candy, and I do it a few times a day, and that's not good. That's not a good habit to get into. So I've got to check myself there. So that's one of the things, man. Holidays are a struggle for me. With all the great things that are out there, Thanksgiving, Christmas, cookies, pies. Just had my birthday too. Like, it's holy smokes. So getting through the holidays without, destroying the progress and the good things that I've accomplished this year. I would say that's what I want to do. So I'm going to use that though. And I want to ask you a question. How does someone maintain their focus? Or maybe they're just starting. They just want to start. And like we said, start today, right? Don't start in 2 months. Don't wait till the year's over. Start right now. So how do you curb those cravings that you have? You go to all these holiday parties and there's so much good stuff around the holidays. Let's be honest. It's good stuff. How do you control that and keep yourself in a position that you don't destroy some of the things you're working hard for?
First answer is discipline. It's very hard to teach yourself to stay disciplined, especially when there's nothing but cookies and your grandma's homemade apple pie and all this pumpkin pie and all this other stuff that's going on. So just all of a sudden creating discipline right off the top of your head and just instantly instituting it takes a special human to be able to do that, because discipline is one of the hardest things you can teach and learn. Another way that if you're gung ho on doing it, then you need to just accept the fact that, hey, we've said this on shows before, moderation. Just don't go after seconds and thirds. Yeah, you can go and have a great time and a great meal, but you don't need to indulge yourself and then go back again and then go back to the buffet tray again. Okay. And the third way, if you just know you cannot, there's just no way you're going to be able to curb it, then know that what you are doing, you have to give something back in return. So if you know you're going to go to a Christmas party and just go ballistic, a Thanksgiving and just go ballistic, then know on the backside of that, you got to give yourself 2 workouts that day. That's one way to put it. Okay. So if you're a guy or gal and you work out 1 time a day, a nice hard workout, but listen, man, we're going to aunts for Thanksgiving. We're going to dad's for Black Friday. We're going to mom's for Christmas Eve. Double up on some workouts, double up on some cardio. Double up on some calorie burn those days and the days leading up to it, and then the days afterwards, knowing, hey, I'm going to let myself slide for these 2 days, and having the discipline to know that you got to make up for it somewhere else, because you can't just go put 5,000 calories in your body and just say, next day I'm just going to go for a walk for, a mile or 2 and think you're just, you solved all the problems of all that extra. Another way, do something, have an accountability partner. I'm not saying you got to do 75 hard. I know just I'm on phase 1 right now, and that's what saved me with Halloween was being on phase 1. I didn't eat a single piece of candy because I was on phase 1, so there's just no junk food allowed, right? But if you don't have the discipline to do 75 hard on your own, find an accountability partner that's looking to accomplish the same goals that you are, like losing weight hey, if I go there and I eat all this junk, then it's taking me away from my goal of losing 20 pounds. All right, so you just have to have that laser-like focus, and it really all comes down to discipline. If you can have discipline, then you'll be all right. But if you are just a fly by the seat of your pants, you're going to eat whatever you put in front of yourself, then, there's a lot more things you got to work on than just discipline.
Yeah. And one of the things, neither of us are big on it, so it doesn't always come to the forefront of our mind too, but this is a big time of year that people drink a lot of alcohol. They've got a lot of fancy drinks. You go out to a party, you're always drinking. Cut back on some of the drinks. That's a lot of calories that are going into your body that are just, adding to the problem. So cut some of that out as well. You're going to feel better.
And you're going to eat less
in general, and you're not going to add some of the weight. Yeah, true.
Don't drink calories. Drinking calories is never something that I would ever advocate for.
No.
Any other questions, Dave?
I don't think so. I think that wraps it up. What do you got for a book recommendation today?
A great all-timer right here. This is Born to Run by Christopher McDougall. Okay, this is a top 5 book for me. It is not a self-help book. It is not a get-rich-quick book. It is not a mental toughness book. It's none of that. It's an absolutely great overall book. Okay, it's about a story about a hidden tribe. So it's called Born to Run: A Hidden Tribe, Super Athletes in the Greatest Race the World Has Never Seen. Okay, Chris McDougall is the author. He runs the Copper Canyon 50 miler down in Mexico. The Tarahumara Indians are the main players of the book. And it is really something right in my wheelhouse. And for you runners out there, I'm sure you've read it. If you haven't, you're doing yourself a disservice. It's really about the Tarahumara Indians and what's the word I'm looking for? How unbelievably good they are at endurance. They are the world's greatest endurance athletes. They run in old pieces of tire that they cut and tie some leather straps around them. They don't have shoes or clothes. They live in the most rugged mountains down in Mexico, and they run upwards of 50 to 100 miles in one direction to get stuff done. They don't have technology. They don't do phones, and they're an old tribe that still lives in the rugged mountains. So they put on a race called the Copper Canyon 50 miler. Scott Jurek, who's if you're a runner, you know who that is. He's one of the greatest ultra runners of all time, has gone down and run the race. And this book has given them some exposure. They've come into the States and have won the Leadville 100 because these guys, it's real, and they do it on such a tiny little diet of like panole and like stuff that they hunt. I mean, it's a tremendous book. But anyways, it takes you from Chris McDougall when he hires a coach named Eric Orton, excuse me, and it takes him through the entire process. He actually runs the 50-mile race and finishes it at the end. But it's a tremendous book about endurance, about living minimalistically and thriving, and just the way it takes you back in time, the way things used to be before we got spoiled with what technology and the telephone and cars and all that other stuff have. It's just a great book, and it's a bestseller. Everybody that in the running community will know what it is. But even if you're just looking for a good read, say you're looking for a book that's not a self-help book, that's not a money book, that's not a job book, that's not a discipline book, things of that nature. This is a book that will take your mind somewhere else. It is a true story. It's nonfiction. It'll take your mind somewhere else, and you'll read it and you'll love it. It's a great read.
Great recommendation. It's one of the ones you've been telling me about for a while, and I still have to pick it up. So I'm going to add that to my list.
Absolutely. So, but that's Election Day episode, question and answer with Dave and Brett. We appreciate you listening. Follow the show, send in those questions and those comments, because then we answer them on the show. And, we just want to keep looking forward to get through the end of this year and into New Year and keep living full force lives and helping you guys out there live a full force life. So if you are loving on the show or hating on the show, let us know. Share the show if you like it. Give us another thing that I don't ever, we're growing this show organically. Give us a 5-star review on Apple and a thumbs up on YouTube, and rate us on Spotify, because it helps us. It does help us. It moves, everyone tells you the algorithm. It does. It will help us. And we're trying to get into as many ears as we can.
Agreed. Brett said it. Get out there, share the show. We absolutely appreciate it. Keep living the full force life. Get out there. As our Bible verse said, love someone. Love trumps everything. So get out there, love someone, especially today. Love your family, love your neighbor, love your community, love this country. We're in the greatest country in the world. You've got less than 2 months till the new year. Take an assessment. Where are you? Be true to yourself. Find out where you need to grow. Find out the things you're doing well and work hard at it. Be full force. We'll talk to you soon.